Anytime something is further away, it gets smaller. You know, just like you take your hand, put it close to your face, it looks big, put it further away and it looks small. That's all that's happening. There is a way to capture that building and keep the top of the building the same size as the bottom, while still standing in the same position where you'd usually need to tilt your camera up. And that would be a special lens. I have one of them right here, and it's known as a tilt-shift lens. And it's mainly useful, one of the uses for it at least, is when shooting architecture. So I'm going to put it on my camera here. And let's talk a little bit about it. Sometimes you can back up to prevent tilting. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's a wall behind you. Sometimes there's a pole or something that would be in your scene if you backed up. So sometimes also backing up changes the perspective. Before you might have been able to see underneath like an awning or something, but then you back up and suddenly you can't anymore. So sometimes it's important to stay in the same position and act as if you tilted the camera up. Well, that's what this particular lens is for. This happens to be a fancy one because it's a wide-angle lens, and they're rare to have one that can tilt and shift. And that's why if you look at this lens, it's kind of crazy looking in that the front element of the lens sticks right out. You'll only see that if it's a really wide-angle tilt-shift. Most tilt-shift lenses look normal on the front. But what's special about a tilt-shift lens is if I look at it from the side, there's a knob here, and if I move that knob, it's going to shift the lens down, or if I move it the other direction, I can shift it up. And what that does is it's the equivalent to tilting your camera up or down, but the front element of your lens, both the top and bottom, are the exact same distance away from the building. So if I level this so that this here is parallel with the front of the building, then when I need to see the top of the building, I can shift this upwards, and it's kind of like in this diagram here, the lens will move up, but the distance between the top and bottom there stays the same distance away from the building. And this gives you the effect of looking as if you're tilting, but the top or bottom of the building is not getting larger or smaller. In order to do this, what you need to have is a lens that is wider, has a wider coverage than usual. This lens is more of one that would work on a medium format camera where the sensor in the back would be much larger, and so this needs to project light over a huge area in the back of the camera, so it has space to be able to only look at the bottom portion of that frame or the top portion of the frame. Whereas most lenses can't do this because the lens itself would only project light right where the sensor is and wouldn't go any further past it. But since this one is wider, it lets it go past it, you can shift it up and down. So if you shoot a lot of architecture, this is a lens you might want to consider. This is the widest version that I know of. It's a 17mm tilt shift. Canon offers that. Nikon, I don't believe, has one that wide. Most of the time you're going to find them a slightly longer lens. So I don't remember what the numbers are. It might be 24 and a 95, that kind of thing.